Oh, I screwed it up. There we go. Let me introduce you to a very good friend of mine, the one, the only Killingbird, my friend. How are you?
Oh, you caught me. You caught me in the middle of a shot there, dude. Thank you so much. That was an incredible intro.
I'm glad you liked it. I hope it wasn't too harsh. I didn't want you to feel like trolled or picked on or anything, but man, you're a funny guy, and I think everybody in chat just had a blast watching through all those clips. And um,
I was
yeah,
absolutely dying. I started to sweat like from laughing and stuff so hard. I was just like, it was killing me. It was
the
amazing.
point where you almost spit your beer out, because I can watch you. I was watching you at the point where you almost spit your beer out. I enjoyed that
Yeah, I had to start
thoroughly.
taking smaller sips because I'm like, all right, this could get bad. No, that
So
was
real quick
great.
before we get into the good stuff, does everybody can everybody hear us okay? KB sounds good. I want to make sure everybody can hear okay. Ban Bailey's. You guys, listen. I was in KB's stream. You can confirm this. I said, listen, man, I'm gonna pick up any liqueur you want. What should I get? We'll do shots together. And what was your answer?
I have no memory of this whatsoever, actually.
I believe that. I believe that. But he said Bailey's salted caramel. So in honor of my friend here, I got the Bailey's salted caramel. And
Well,
okay, I'm looking at my mic. So I'll behave better with my mic here. I'll get nice and cozy with it. All right, so a couple rules. We talked a little bit about this before. There's 10 questions, right? You may have a few follow up questions depending if I feel like you cheated an answer, but I think we'll be fine on that. The questions are going to get harder with each question, so we'll kind of see how that goes. And then
okay.
we're going to take a break halfway through. We're going to do a little rapid fire, which will be fun. We'll fire off a bomb pot, and then we'll get to the second half. And then everybody, if you guys listen up, at the end of the interview, KB's going to fire up his stream, and we're going to go over there. We'll hold down the fort here for a couple minutes while he gets his OBS fired up and everything and gets all ready to go. But then we're going to bring the raid over there, and then I want you guys to just blast the hell out of him with bits and subs and emotes and just put a smile on his face. So I think that's about it. Are you ready,
Awesome.
sir?
I'm stoked. I'm ready. Thank you for having me. I'm proud and honored to be here.
Oh, thank you for letting me do this. I've been looking forward to this since we set a date. All right, easy question out of the gate for you, KB. We gave you a little t-ball question just to get you warmed up here.
All right.
What are your favorite baseball, football, and basketball teams, and how did you come to be fans of each?
Okay. I'll start with the easiest of those two, which is I am a Miami Dolphins fan in football. It's kind of a long story how it happened, but I'll make it really short. When I was young, so this would have been 1984-ish, my grandmother passed away. May she rest in peace. And they lived in Florida, so my mom took me down there to like help with like funeral arrangements and to clean up the house and do all that kind of stuff. So I spent 2 weeks down in Florida with my grandpa, and we watched a couple of Dolphins games. Before that, I wasn't a football fan at all, um, and I just became a Dolphins fan by watching with my gramps. And then plus it helped that they had just drafted Dan Marino. So I was like, man, the Dolphins are going to win so many Super Bowls. I'm coming in at the perfect time. Marino's going to win like 4 rings. And we all know how that turned out. but
Yeah.
I but I've been hanging with them. I'm still in. I'm all in. Let's just hope we get a Super Bowl before I die. So I talk about this a lot on my stream. Actually, I don't watch basically any other sports, but I did grow up in Michigan, and my other grandfather was a huge Detroit Tigers fan, and I can like vividly remember riding around in his giant ass boat of a car, listening to the Tigers on the radio. So if I pulled for a baseball team, it would certainly be the Tigers, and I think they made the World Series like maybe like 8 9 years ago or something, and I remember watching the World Series to root for them, but only because I knew my grandpa was watching and I had to respect that.
Sure.
Basketball, I watch even less than baseball. But I have been to two basketball games, and they were both Lakers games because I lived in Los Angeles at the time, and we got through my company. This is when I was in the music business. We had free tickets to the Lakers, like box seats or whatever, and they would raffle them out sometimes. So I went to two
Right.
Lakers games, got to see Shaq play. I was actually trying to figure out if I
Nice.
saw Kobe play, and I need to still go back and figure that out. And I know the person who can tell me, because there's a person who was in charge of those tickets who can tell me if I saw Kobe play. I need to ask her that. So if I had to pick one, it would be the Lakers. But truth be told, I haven't watched a basketball game in 5 years. So
See how easy this is?
yeah, that was an easy one. This is going to be so
That was
easy.
a piece of cake, man. Have you ever been accused of being a fair weather fan, considering that you're a Miami Dolphins fan? I mean, does that come up a lot?
Yeah, that is one. Well, I mean, I guess you could almost argue that I was, because I think it was '83 they played the Skins in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Um, Lost, but so and they had just drafted Denver. So I guess in a way I kind of was jumping on a bandwagon, but it's been a really rough bandwagon ride.
That you've been very faithful with.
Yes.
All right. Question number 2, and these questions all came from your friends, by the way. As far as I know, I don't know that you have any mortal enemies that I would have gotten messages from. So you'll have to figure out though who asked what later.
Okay.
Question number 2: how did you get started with Tournament Poker Edge?
Oh, wow. So yeah, Tournament Poker Edge turns 10 this year in April.
Wow.
And basically the way that happened is when I left the music industry, I had just gotten laid off. And the music industry had become a place that I really had no real interest in working in anymore. It had become way less creative and way more like being run by bean counters and stuff. Yeah, just not that I didn't love it, but I'd also moved to North Carolina, so it was hard to get in to stay in the music business here, etc. So I'd left the music industry and I was like, what the heck am I going to do? And I actually took a little time and I went and worked at Guitar Center just because I thought
Wow.
it'd be fun. Yeah, it was like the most fun minimum wage job I've ever worked in my life. And I didn't need it. Like I got a really nice severance package. Everything was fine, but I was just like, I was bored off my ass. So
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to go sell guitars. That'll be fun. But while I was there, I watched a Gary Vaynerchuk video. I'm sure a lot of people follow Gary Vaynerchuk, but I've been following him for over a decade. And it was essentially a keynote where he said, there's no reason to do shit you hate, because with the internet and everything, like you can make money doing exactly what you want to do. So I was like, well, I play online poker. Like I enjoy that. And I wasn't a pro or anything. But I just enjoyed it. It's what I liked talking about, reading about, writing about, and what I did on my time off. And I had met a friend through the poker forums named Diego. And him and I got talking and we were like, we should start a poker business. Like that would be kind of fun. And we were like, maybe like we could even break even. Like that would be kind of cool. Like if we could actually like have a place to hang out and talk about poker and not lose money. So we put together a business plan. We were super excited about it. We spent 6 months building the platform and everything. And our business plan was like, you might be profitable in like 9 months. We launched the company and within 30 days we were profitable. And it's just kept on going ever since. And it's been one of the most amazing like blessings in my life. Like the people I've met through TPE is like, there's hundreds of really, really great people who I've met just through that. So yeah, it's been amazing. And it was literally just, what do I like to do with my time? I like poker. Let's start a company. So same way I got into distilling and beer, to be honest.
Very, very cool. You kind of dipped into question 3 here a little bit. So you're kind of following the path here. Walk us through your music career. How did it get started, and what was the high point of your career? And then I was going to ask, how did it end? But you just kind of spoiled that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in bands like all through high school and college, and did some touring and recorded an album and stuff like that. But I definitely realized at some point during that, and probably pretty early on, honestly, that I wasn't going to be a rock star. Like I was just not a good enough musician. I was like, well, I was gonna say I was like Keith Richards, but he kind of made it. So, but I'm like I'm like not a good guitar player by any means. But I looked really good on stage. Like I was great at that. But I realized that wasn't enough. So I had to figure out a way to stay in the music industry because that's what I loved doing. So I just graduated with my master's degree from Central Michigan University, and I was trying to figure out, well, how do I stay in this industry? And the answer was go to LA. So I jumped in a car with $300 and my dog, and I drove to LA. And 6 months later, I got my first job at in the music business, paying $17,000 a year in LA, by the way. So that's like
Wow.
$8,000 here.
Right.
um, and yeah, but it was like a really, I don't know, I hope this doesn't sound like a brag, but I like I shot up the ranks very fast. Like I got my first
Mm.
promotion in like 6 months. Within 5 years, I was a director, which is like the fourth level in this company. Um, and yeah, and it was an amazing run. Like I just loved it, and I would put in like 80, 90 hour weeks because I didn't want to do anything else. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to be around the music. I'd go out to shows 5 nights a week in LA, and it was amazing. And then there was sort of a transition where they like hired like executives from like Pepsi and Gatorade and all this stuff to like come in and revitalize the company. And we clashed. You can imagine me getting along with suit and tie executives, right? And all I wanted to do was fight for the bands. I didn't care about anything else. I was just trying to fight for these bands. They showered me, as they probably should have. I was not a good employee at that point. But I was hired immediately to go work for an independent record label out of Seattle called Tooth and Nail Records, and that was the high point for me. That's where I really shined because it was a very small team, and we had all the right bands at all the right time, and we just destroyed. Like, it's so much so that at that time I was getting hit up by other labels like, "Come do sales for us, come do," and I was just like, "Nah, I'm good." And that lasted about 5 years. And then, despite the success, that shift in the music industry just started to catch up, where they were like downsizing, getting rid of employees, merging departments, things like that. Um, and it just got to the point where they're like, I won't go into the nitty gritty details, but essentially, what's that? What was that? I became redundant, probably
Mm.
is the right way to say it. And they let me go. And it was at that time where I kind of mentioned earlier where I was like, okay, do I stay in this industry? Do I get out? And I did some marketing as well, but I was primarily a sales guy. So I worked with like Best Buy, Target, Musicland, like all these like record store chains. And as we all know, record stores were dying a very slow death. So where my
Right.
specialty really was not going to be the future. So it just felt like a really, really good time to like exit stage left. And I still to this day feel like I left at exactly the right time.
Sure, sure, sure. Tyler wants to know in chat. He said, "What are the top three favorite bands you had the pleasure of working with?"
Oh, wow. So they're going to be bands that a lot of people probably won't have heard of. I had the good fortune to work with a lot of really, really great bands. Like I'll name some that people will know, but these are none of them are my top bands. But like we work with like the Smashing Pumpkins, A Perfect Circle, the Foo Fighters, Norma Jean, or sorry, Nora Jones. Norma Jean would be close to my top. But I would say my favorites are all going to be pretty much from the independent level, except for the one band at the major labels that I worked with that should have been one of the biggest bands of all time, which was a band called At the Drive-In. They did one record, and then they essentially said, "We don't want to do interviews. We don't want to go on any like TV shows. We don't want to make videos. All we want to do is write songs and tour." But that was not really feasible in the music industry at that time, so they broke up. They eventually reunited, did a tour, etc. But yeah, At the Drive-In is definitely huge on my list. Super proud of having worked with a band called Under Oath, which when I first started
Uh huh.
working with them, they had sold about 20, 30,000 albums. I'm proud to now have two gold records on my wall from them, one of which is right. Oh, I can't, well, the one you can see behind me. No, oh, that one.
There you go.
No, over there. Anyway, yeah, that's one of the two gold records I have from them. So proud to have worked with them, and they are still super good friends of mine to this date or to this day. What would be the third one? Geez, that's such a hard question. I'm looking at my plaques on my wall to try to decide. Um, I'll throw out a band again. I'm sorry that these are bands people aren't going to have known. Um, I worked with a band called Mae, Mae, who were like just amazing human beings and people who I've still remained friends to this day. I've gone to their weddings. They had Thanksgiving at my house. And that's kind of why I couldn't survive in the music business because all my favorite bands were the ones that were having Thanksgiving dinner with me and not the ones that were paying people's paychecks. So
Quick follow up question. Fish Lake wants to know how many records sold for a gold record.
Gold is 500,000. Platinum is 1 million. Diamond is 10 million. There's not too many of those in the world.
Nice. See, you're 3 for 3, man. We're killing it here.
Loving it.
Question 4. What similarities exist between the poker and music industries, and how did music prepare you for your poker journey?
Interesting. Well, I think that one of the things that I loved about the music industry is that it was a very social business. So there was a lot of time spent breaking bread, sitting around a table, or sitting in like the deepest, darkest part of a bar, enjoying a cocktail with an artist or something. Poker is very much like that because honestly, if it wasn't for the social aspect of poker, and right now I'm speaking about like literally sitting at a table playing poker. I'm not even talking about online poker necessarily yet. But if it wasn't for that, I would never play live poker. If it wasn't for like talking to some 70-year-old veteran about his like service in Vietnam, or talking to a young kid about how he's struggling with his bankroll, or meeting like somebody who you become friends with, I would have stopped playing live poker 5-7 years ago. But that also carries over for sure to Twitch and online poker, because same thing. Like I've talked about this with Geek. I think if it wasn't for Twitch, I probably would have stopped playing online poker by now. Like it's a lonely game, right? So you spend a lot of time like away from your family and not talking to people, particularly in online poker. So to have like somebody to like talk to and bounce ideas off of and just complain and bitch and moan, that's a huge aspect of it. And so much of the music industry was that, because as much time as I spent trying to sell records, I spent an equal amount of time trying to like talk an artist off the ledge, or explain to them why their record's not selling as well as it should, or why the label's not investing more money in their tour or whatever. So yeah, that social aspect is definitely the biggest comparison.
Very, very cool. So now we're gonna start getting a little tougher here. So question number 5, and I'm gonna switch this question up a little bit, because you just talked about your disdain kind of for online in of itself. Why did you never become like a full-time live poker pro? And what kind of poker career could you have had if that had been your only mission in life?
It's a great question. I think the first part of it is a multi-tiered answer. One is that I spent so much time away from my family in the first half of having a family. So, my son's 22 now. So let's say his first 10 to 12 years, I spent a lot of time away from them because I was out 4 or 5 nights a week seeing shows. I traveled a ton back then. I used to go on the road for, weeks at a time. I'd go out with a band for 5 or 6 days. I'd come back for 2 days and then I'd leave again. So one of the things that appealed to me about playing online was that I could at least shut the computer off at the end of the night and like kiss my son goodnight or whatever, And that was not something I was really able to do for a long time. So I think that was a part of it. I think also the fact that I was always much more interested in every part of the game. This is going to sound weird considering I own a poker trading site. I was more interested in every aspect of poker than studying. Like the amount of time my backers have spent beating me up, telling me I should really probably study poker is a lot. And that's not to say I haven't. I mean, I've watched thousands of hours of training videos, right? But I never enjoyed that part of it. I've never embraced that part of it. And I think much like I did with playing music, I definitely realized at some point, like, I'm never going to be a professional poker player. And frankly, I don't think I really wanted to be, for all the reasons I just mentioned. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing. It was like, well, I don't want to be a professional poker player, certainly not a live professional poker player. So I might as well not study. And I might as well not study because I don't really want to get good at it. So it was just kind of like it was never like a conscious decision. Like, I'm just going to be a mid-stakes grinder for the rest of my life. But it was more just like I think I'm pretty self-aware about that. Like I'll get people who come in my chat and tell me how much I suck and stuff. And I'm like, dude, if you want to offend me, like, criticizing my poker game is not the way to do it.
Right.
Like, that is not going to bother me one bit, because I'm a pretty average poker player, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I'm not a crusher. I don't suck. If I never had a sip of alcohol and I studied, I'm sure I could be a winning player. But it's just not anything that's ever really interested me. But damn, do I love hanging out with poker players and talking about poker. I love talking hands even. But what I don't love is sitting down and watching a training video, which is fucking weird.
Right. Right. So what would follow-up question to that would be like, what would you got to Vegas a lot? What would a bracelet mean to you? Would it mean a lot? Would it just be kind of a cool experience? Is there some sentimental value to that, or is it more of just like, hey, if it happens, it happens? Would it be on your wall?
I think there's two sides to that. One of the reasons that I've gone to Vegas for 10 years and played World Series events is that I always thought it would be really good for business. I'm man enough to admit that fact. Like, hey, if I win a bracelet, it's really good for TP and my Twitch stream now. It would probably mean more. No, not probably. It would definitely mean more to me than the money, 100%. And I know there's a lot of people who say, screw the bracelet, just give me the money. Like, if they could chop heads up and swap first place money just to give away the bracelet, they would do it. I would take the bracelet before I'd take first place money, and it's not even close. But I think the biggest thing, and I'll say it in a not super serious way, and then I'll put it in a more serious way. In the not serious way, I've never won a fucking trophy in my life. I had 2 medals in wrestling when I was like 7 or something, but I don't count those. But since then, I didn't really play. I played 2 years of football in high school. I played a year of basketball. We never won anything. I have no trophies. I've never won a trophy in poker. I've never won a trophy in bowling. I have no trophies. Well, I guess I have gold records, but other than that, I have no trophies in my life. So it'd be pretty sick to have a trophy of any kind. But on a more serious level, it would be really cool to be able to, considering what I was talking about earlier, the amount of time I've spent away from family and away from my son and stuff, it'd be really cool to be able to give him the bracelet. And just be like, hey, this is what Dad was doing. Like, here's what I was working on. Hopefully you'll enjoy it more than I will. But I would never wear it. It wouldn't sit on my mantle or anything like that. But it would be sick to have one. For
sure, man. Maybe this summer's, you never know. You never know when it might come through.
Yeah.
All right, so we are at the halfway point. KB is cruising, and right now he's thinking that this interview is going to be easy, but it's because he hasn't seen the last 5 questions.
Oh, no.
So here's what we're going to do for our little halftime part. We got 2 things here. We're going to do the bomb pot with the $50 added here in a little bit, so hang out for that. But first, we're going to do a segment we call Rapid Fire, and basically I have like 35 this or that questions that he's going to try and answer as fast as he can, whatever comes to his head first, just to give us a crazy perspective of where he's at. And we'll just see how many we can get through in 60 seconds. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, here we go, guys. 60 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Paper or plastic?
Paper.
Pepsi or Coke?
Coke.
Red Bull or Monster?
Monster.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Ooh, Star Wars by a mile.
Beatles or Beach Boys?
Beach Boys.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Vanilla.
Back rub or foot rub?
Oh, shit. Foot rub.
Indoors or outdoors?
In.
Scarlett Johansson or Charlize Theron?
Oh, Charlize by a mile.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Boxers or briefs?
Briefs.
J-Lo or Shakira?
Shakira.
Pizza or nachos?
Oh, God, you're really testing me. Nachos.
Chess or checkers?
Checkers.
Book or magazine?
Book.
Top or bottom?
Oh, bottom.
80s or 90s?
80s.
Macho Man or The Rock?
Macho by a mile.
Pop Rocks or Pixie Sticks?
Pop Rocks.
Madonna or Paula Abdul?
Madonna.
Nice work. You got through most of them. If you had gone a little faster, you would have gotten to the no penis or 5 penises question. But fortunately, you did not get to that one. So Chad will have to wait until the next Killingbird interview to hear the answer to that one. All right, we're going to run this Bob pot quick. When we come back, we got 5 more questions for him. everybody, and welcome to Bomb Pots. In a moment, we're going to choose 8 lucky contestants. Each will get dealt 2 whole cards. We'll deal all 5 cards to the board one at a time, and whichever one of you has the best hand at the end will be the winner. So good luck to everybody, and don't worry, if you didn't get selected, there's always next time. All right, let's choose our contestants. All right, everyone, let's shuffle up and deal. Okay, let's take a look at the first card. And now let's turn over the second card. Let's complete the flop. It's time for the turn card. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. It all comes down to this. Win or lose, the river card will determine all. Flip over the river card. Okay, that is it for our bomb pot. Thank you so much for participating. Congratulations to the winner. If you didn't win this time, remember there will be more chances, so stick around the stream. You never know when another bomb pot is going to drop. But that's it for me. We're signing out. We'll be back from the break in just a bit and back to the poker action. I think TSB sabotaged himself there.
I blame him.
Thought he was in seat 2, and so he said seat 2, go seat, good luck seat 2, and then seat 2 won.
Maybe he's just a really nice guy. I wanted to give the money to somebody else.
It could be. It could be. Well, faked is appreciative. All right, so we're gonna get into the back half here. It's gonna get a little tougher for you.
We would be remiss though, if first we did not raise a toast.
Absolutely, my friends.
So I said this to you privately, but I want to say it publicly as well. Good to have you back on the Twitch streets, my friend, and I'm really stoked about all the stuff you're bringing to the stream. I've been enjoying it. I hope everybody out there has been enjoying it. This one's for you. Cheers.
Cheers, my friends. Oh!
Yeah.
Got a nice little caramel aftertaste. All right. Have some milk. Y'all can suck it. Jeez. It doesn't matter what I drink as long as I get a little smiley and toasty and giggly. That's all you guys came for. The how we get there is irrelevant. All right, here we go. Question number 6. How do you feel about Stormers in terms of where it started and where it is today? And what are the pros and cons of the group's direction?
Another really good question. So I hesitated joining Stormers for a long time. And by a long time, I honestly don't know what that means. Maybe a year and a half, two. I have no idea exactly. Um, but I had become really good friends with Lost in Poker. Rest in peace, sir. He's watching this right now, chilling with us. Um, and he would approach me every few months, like, "Hey, you want to come over? I'll give you a home game. You can do this thing. It'll be fun." And to be very honest, so I put it off for a long time. I was just like, it's not for me. I like doing my own thing. I'd rather just like chill with myself and my crew and like have a good time and not have to answer to anybody or anything.
Right.
But then the idea of having a home game became incredibly appealing to me. So I'll be very honest. I essentially joined for that reason alone originally. But I ended up really enjoying it, and I enjoyed the team, and I enjoyed the people that I was streaming with. And I think it's funny because I was just having a conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago. I think at this point, like I'm probably like one of the longest running ACR Stormers. I think maybe Quick Question Now is longer than me. That might be it. I think it's like 3 years now I've been doing this or something. And of course, when Lost passed, they passed the torch over to Snost to run the team. And Snost and I were close, and we've gotten even closer since. And he's done a really good job growing the team and helping to coordinate a lot of the sort of marketing efforts. And of course, Rodney, Quick Question Now, does a lot of the social media and stuff. He's great at that as well. So I got to give a lot of props to those guys, but also to all the other fellow Stormers. They're all amazing human beings and great streamers in their own right. So there's a bunch of things that I really love about it. I love the fact that there's people streaming who are really good crushers. People like Poker Guru, people like Beefiz. There's these guys who are just amazing poker players and crush the game way harder than I'll ever crush it. And I love it that there's people like me, and I'm not going to name any other names because I don't want to offend anybody, but there's like, you're more recreational poker players, people who are playing average buy-ins of $2, $3, $5, $10. I think that part of it's really cool because it's something that no other poker sites do, right? Like, PokerStars isn't going to hire a person who plays $2 average buy-ins. And I think that's cool, and I think it's appealing to people who watch Twitch because they see like, oh, I can do this. I can also play poker, not professionally maybe, but I can do it, enjoy it, and make a little money and have a good time. Do I have concerns about the way the program is changing? Sure. I think originally when they started originally it was like 7 people, right? Or maybe it was 9 because I think there were 2 home games on the weekends or whatever.
Gold Stormers. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of like you had a little more exclusivity, and you weren't up against. I mean, hell, I'll run down the list right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 6 other ACR Stormers streaming right now. Now I'm not streaming right now, but I'm still up against 6 other people, and we're all splitting to some degree the same audience. Now, yeah, some of us have our regulars who maybe hang out in my stream but don't hang out in others, and they hang out in their stream but not mine. And I had some concerns about that early on. I'm sure there's still people who are like, "Oh man, there's just too many Stormers. Like we're all basically just chopping up the same audience." But at the end of the day, like I'm a pretty big believer that rising tides float all boats. You and I, Rob, and Geek and Drew and a bunch of other people, we've had conversations over the years about this 100-viewer ceiling for American streamers, right? So, at the end of the day, does it matter if I have 40 viewers tonight when I stream instead of 70? Not really. But if we as a team can raise this American streaming concept up to where all of a sudden, shit, now some people are getting 200. Now some people are getting 250. Because look, I've been doing this 5 years. I think I'm probably the longest running American poker streamer there is. When I started, there were only like 5 of us. It was like me and Dutch Boyd and
Wow.
Draw Live Girl and like two or three other people. P Boggs was pretty early, a couple other people, and they've all quit. And I'm not saying that in like a negative way. I'm just saying like
Right.
it's really hard to get viewers as a US streamer. So the reality is, if there were only 7 streamers, I'm not going to have 300 viewers, you know?
Right.
So if I have 50 instead of 70 or 30 instead of 50, but we're all trying to grow this cool thing called Twitch and this cool thing called poker and this cool thing called ACR, I'm good with it, you know? What, you know, and I mean, look, none of us are making fortunes off of Twitch, right? So at the end of the day, maybe I make $100 less, I make $100 more here. That's neither here nor there to me. At the end of the day, what I want, I keep saying at the end of the day, and I hate that saying, so I got to try to stop that. What I really want is for poker not a sport, poker as a game to grow, and I want American poker sites to grow, American-facing poker sites, and I want the Twitch poker directory to grow. Those are the 3 most important things, much more important than my actual stream growing. And I think that the Stormers program is helping to accomplish that. So I'm willing to give up some of my piece of the pie, you know,
Right.
even if it is like a quarter of a McDonald's piece of apple pie. I'm willing to give that up to help grow the whole platform, because I'm not going to be here forever, right? Like, I figure I got a couple years left of streaming in me. I'd rather leave this place like a better place than we found it. And if that means me suffering a little in the meantime, bring it on. Sorry, long answer, I know, but
No, long answers are good. I'm curious from a business perspective, and you might not have much insight on this because I don't know how much you're like tuned into to what's going on, but like the whole like streaming platform battle, right, is heating up. Like YouTube just signed a bunch of the, Blizzard online leagues and whatnot. Yeah. Are you concerned at all about the future of Twitch and their ability to adapt and stay relevant in the meta?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. I actually just watched an interview with, I'll bring up Gary Vaynerchuk again. I just watched an interview with him, and he was talking about this very concept. And here's the thing. YouTube is fucking massive, right? Like Twitch is big, but Twitch is minuscule compared to YouTube, right? So what would be required for YouTube to take over the streaming world is so much less than what would be required for Twitch to surpass YouTube's reach. Because YouTube's the second biggest search engine in the world, right? Nobody goes on nobody goes on Twitch and I shouldn't say nobody. Very few people go on Twitch and search how to get better at poker, But you know where they do that? YouTube. So YouTube if YouTube decides they want to crush Twitch, they probably could. And it would be way easier for them to build the infrastructure and the software and the platform and the usability and all that stuff than it would be for Twitch to reach YouTube's reach, their scale. So yeah, I could see a world where that happens. The good thing is Twitch does have like a niche brand that will probably live on for at least a long time. That it's very much gamer focused. I don't know what that does for poker though. We're just such a small directory compared to so many games. And I think esports is going to be massive. So we're just going to continue to move down in the directory list. There's going to be new games coming out every year that just hop over poker. And poker just keeps moving down. It would help a lot if politicians would wake up and legalize online gaming, or legalize is the wrong word because it's not illegal to play online poker, but you know what I'm saying.
Regulate. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, good stuff. Abar, thank you so much for the biddies. Appreciate it. All right, next question. Question 7. We're going to get even harder here. So I had multiple friends of yours. I thought this was interesting. Refer to you as, quote, an absolute marketing genius. So the question is this: what is your marketing philosophy? Why have you been so successful with it? And how have you applied it to poker, business, music industry, so on? Like what is the heartbeat of all that?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny because that gets mentioned a lot in like my chat and stuff, and it's probably mostly me talking myself up. I think part of it is that everything that I did in the music industry is incredibly applicable. And I talked a little bit about this earlier, I guess. It's incredibly applicable to what's happening in Twitch and YouTube and things like that. Um, but also in my other career, which is, I own a distillery and we make bourbon and whiskey. They're very similar audiences. So, coming up in the music industry, I spend a lot of time standing in front of a club, handing out a CD sampler or a sticker or a flyer for a show or whatever, and kind of hoping that they would like buy the CD or come to the show or whatever. Twitch feels very much like that, because you do like a little YouTube snippet and you throw it up and you hope that somebody finds it via search, and then they're like, oh, this guy seems like a cool guy and he's playing poker. I'm gonna go watch his stream. Or you put something up on TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, and you hope that they search hashtag poker or whatever, and they'll come. So it's almost like, the little YouTube snippet you put out there is like your CD sampler, and you're hoping they like listen to it and they're like, oh, I like this one song. Now I want to hear more songs. I'm going to buy their EP, which is like subscribing or maybe following the stream. And then they like the EP, so they buy the full length, which is like subscribing to the stream. So I think I've been lucky that I've been in industries where everything I learned in the music business is really applicable. And I talk about this a lot with craft beer and craft distilling. Not so much on my stream, but I talk about it to my counterparts, which is, when I'm at I go to stores, liquor stores, and I open bottles and I pour samples for people. And I say, you like bourbon? You should check this out. By the way, it's available right over there on the shelf. It's exactly what I used to do in the music business. I would go to a record store and I'd be like, oh, you like Smashing Pumpkins? Check out this band, blah, blah, blah. Here's 2 songs. By the way, it's available in the pop rock section right over there in the corner of the record store if you want to buy it. It's such a perfect, and I'm sure it's why I've moved into these industries, because it was kind of so easy. Not easy is the wrong word. It was so applicable. My skills transitioned from industry to industry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But also, I think the fact that so much of what you have to do to be successful on Twitch in particular is hustle. And I grew up as a hustler. I came up being in a band on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and La Brea, handing out flyers saying, please come to my show.
Right.
We're playing at the Whiskey on Saturday night, 9 p.m. Here's the info. That's pretty much what you're doing. You're just asking people to come check you out, and you're just hoping that of the 1,000 people you ask, 30 show up, and 10 of those maybe buy your record and 2 buy a T-shirt. And that's pretty much what you're doing on Twitch. So I think there's a lot of people who try to, and this kind of goes back to the Stormers question too, right? There's a lot of people who are like, oh shit, all I have to do is download this program called OBS, and then I hit stream, and then I start streaming, and then people just show up, and then I make money, and it's great. And they don't realize that's just not how it is. I've been doing this 5 years, and I probably to this day average 40, 50 viewers. It's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard grind. And there's people outside of this industry who look in and go, Killingbird, he's got 50 viewers. I see All in Pav up there. He's got 1.2. What, Killingbird's not doing shit. You know how many people in the Twitch universe, not just poker, would kill their most significant other for 50 viewers? A lot, Okay, that's an exaggeration. They wouldn't actually kill their most significant other, but they would do drastic things to get 50 people to watch them. It's really, really hard. There's a great article, and I'm not going to link it because I won't be able to find it, but it's something like it's about streamers who stream to no one for years, basically. I think it was a Vox article or something like that. And there's people who stream for 2 years and they still have 1 viewer, 2 viewers, and it's their friend. It's their friend who lives in the apartment next door or whatever. So I'm so incredibly grateful that I have the viewers I have. and I've said this on stream a million times. I don't have a ton of interest in having 1,000 viewers. When I do my charity stream, it's fucking amazing. I'm sorry, I keep swearing. It's
No, you're
amazing.
good. Swear you want.
It's amazing that I get 1,000, 1,200, 1,800 viewers. Thank you, Twitch, for putting us on the front page. But honestly, I'd rather do this for the rest of my life with 50 to 100 viewers. It's just way more personable. It's way more me. I'm just not a guy who can sit there and keep up with 1,000 people in chat. Look, if somebody wants to host me tonight, give me 1,000 viewers. Thank you. I appreciate it. But it's not my long-term goal by any means. So,
what is your long-term goal?
honestly, just to keep having fun. I know it's like the cop-out answer, but I think anybody who's watched me for 5 years knows it's true. I'm not going to sell out to get more viewers. I'm not going to like take any shortcuts, whatever those shortcuts are. I just want to keep having fun. And the second I stop, I won't quit, but I'll just be like, hey guys, you know what? I'm going to stream like a couple times a month. I'll hang out with you guys in the IRL or whatever, but I'm not enjoying this anymore. So I'm out. And you and I were talking a little bit earlier. I will admit, like this last month or two, I've been really tired and I've been beat down and I haven't been enjoying my streams as much. But I kind of defend myself by saying I haven't streamed as much. So like if I'm not feeling it, like I'm just not streaming, I'm just not going to do
Right.
it. Well, the exception is my home game. I'll stream that every time because A, I have to, and B, I always have fun during my home game. But yeah, I don't really have a quantifiable goal beyond having a really good time. And I think that's what my stream's always been about. It's certainly not an educational stream. I don't really have people come in sometimes and they'll be like, hey, why'd you 3-bet Jack 9 suited from the cutoff on that hand? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Just seemed like a good idea at the time. So yeah, I just want to keep having fun and keep meeting fun people. I met people at Run It Up Reno this year who I met for the first time, and I'm like, this is why I love it. I met actually TSB. He's in the chat, right? In fact, we roomed together. And I'm like, this is why I do it. This is why I love it. I love the fact that I get to go to Reno in a room with a dude I've never met in my life and have the greatest fucking time ever. So.
Very cool. So next time you're in Reno, you head down to the sports book and your buddies come up to you and they're like, hey, KB, there's a line in the sports book. It says, over under 12.5 years, Killingbird's still streaming. Are you advising them on the over or the under?
I'd have to look. I'd have to ask the sportsbook manager. What does still streaming mean? There's a 0% chance I stream 3 days a week in 12 years. There's probably like a 75% chance that I stream something once a week in 12.5 years. But that might be me in the Bahamas fishing on the beach and just doing an IRL stream and be like, hey guys, remember when we used to play poker? That was so much fun. Yeah, like I really like I just enjoy the interaction. So like I'll definitely do it for a long time, but it'll become more spaced out for sure. So enjoy it while you can, guys.
Right. All right, so this next question is the one that makes me the most nervous, only because I absolutely trust who asked this question, so I shouldn't be nervous. But I don't understand the question, so I feel like there's an inside story here I might not know.
Okay.
So if for some strange reason, we talked about this before, and if some strange reason this question's like weird or awkward, just say pass or whatever. Because I don't quite understand what this person's asking. But the question goes as this. I'm just going to read it to you as is, and then maybe you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It says, what is your relationship like with your dad? What will you absolutely not tolerate in your stream in real life? And how does the first question relate to the second?
Okay. I might ask you to remind me of the second one, but I can definitely answer the first one. My dad and I are very tight. My dad's a Vietnam veteran, and I hope my dad's not watching. Dad, are you watching? 0% chance my dad's watching. He definitely struggled with some PTSD and depression and stuff when he came out of Vietnam. But I was young, so I don't remember it. But I do have a feeling that probably impacted our relationship for the first 15 to 17, maybe 18 years of my life. So other family members will say to me like, "Wow, your dad was an asshole when you were like 3," and I'm like, "Well, I was 3, so I don't remember." And not an asshole, by the way, ever in like any kind of abusive way or anything like that. But he was just, he was fucking coming back from Vietnam. He was fucked up, so he had his struggles. I don't remember hugging my dad until the day that I left for college, which is kind of crazy when I think back on it. But at the time, it seemed completely normal, which is weird. My mom was the loving one, the one that would, pat you on the back when you were sick, get you ginger ale. My dad was the, get out there, get a job, do your thing, blah, blah, blah. But I do remember very distinctly getting a hug from my dad the day I left for college. And I was like, that was pretty awesome. And then we hit, it was kind of like a tipping point. Like, honestly, since that day, we have been incredibly tight. We talk what I think is often, but other people's measure of often might be different than mine. And he's my biggest supporter. So right before I graduated from high school, we had a controversy in my high school. And I won't go into the details of the controversy, but let's just say it was like a student versus administration controversy. And I distinctly remember my dad coming to me, and this was like literally like 3 days before graduation. And I remember him like coming to me and going, "You have my full support. Whatever you feel like you have to do, you have to do. I love you. You're the best, blah, blah, blah." And I kind of remember that being the moment where I was like, wow, he's like really kind of been pulling for me this whole time. I just didn't really quite know it because it wasn't expressed in like the normal ways that most people get it expressed to them. And we've been close ever since. And like some of my best concerts since then have been with my dad. My dad is like my biggest supporter. Like he's the one person, like if I'm in Vegas for the World Series, he's the one person who will text me and be like, "How you doing? How's your chip stack? Are you winning?" Like he'll tweet or he'll Facebook or post or whatever to his friends and say, "So proud of my son. He's playing in the World Series of poker today." And meanwhile, I'm playing like the $500 Colossus or whatever, you know what I mean? But he's but he's just like in my corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, my relationship with my dad is incredible, and I couldn't be. There's like no human being in the world that I am more respectful of or happier to have had raised me than him. And now I can't remember the second part of the question.
Yeah. So the second part of the question is, what will you absolutely not tolerate on your stream or in real life, and how does that question relate to the question about your dad?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is actually okay. I can actually come up with some connections here. Okay. So you and I talked a little about this earlier. My stream is pretty aggro, right? Like I talk shit about people at my tables. I think in a fun way, but I'm sure sometimes other people don't see it as fun. And sometimes people will come into my stream and they'll do things or say things and they'll get like timed out by my mods or whatever. I'm like, "Hey, look, guys, it's cool. He can call me fat. He can call me a drunk, whatever." The cutoff line is family. And I don't mean that necessarily like you could say certain things, but as soon as it becomes negative or like demeaning or critical of my family, like that's just obviously a stopping point. Read that question one more time for me.
Yeah, sorry.
You're deep.
So it was. I'm not deep. Your friends are deep. What is your relationship with your dad? What will you absolutely not tolerate in your stream or in real life? And how does the first question relate to the second?
Oh yeah. So in real life, it's obviously pretty similar. And this is kind of one of those things too that it's been fostered over the years of living with a bunch of guys in Vegas and stuff, like because you talk so much shit to each other, so you can talk a lot of trash, but everyone knows where the line is, right? It's like,
yeah,
and it's probably different for everybody, but for me, it stops at family. But I'm glad you read it back to me. That's why I asked you to read it back to me because I wanted to go back to this. I mentioned my dad was a Vietnam veteran. So there's two other things that don't fly in my stream: racism and homophobia.
Hmm.
Um, my dad's basically hero, I guess, is a guy named Charles. It was his squad sergeant in Vietnam. He's an African American. I remember when I couldn't tell you the exact age, 8, 9, 10, young, pretty young. I remember using the N word in front of my dad. Charles was an African American man. I used the N word. It's the one time I remember my dad putting his fist to my face. And he said, an African American saved my life in Vietnam. That word will not be used in this house. And I was like, okay. I've learned now
Very
that this
cool.
word is not appropriate. And I was young. I didn't even know what I was saying. I was literally just saying
Right,
a
right,
word.
right.
But
Words you heard somewhere, right? Yeah,
I respect the shit out of him putting me in my place. And so
yeah.
that has also transitioned for me over to, and I think this is true for everybody. Well, almost everybody, Twitch, Twitter, poker forums, etc. It's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Do not disrespect other people. Certainly not people who have went and did shit that you would never do on their behalf.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's one of the best lessons that my father ever gave me. And I don't think I've ever really told him that, but I probably should one day. By the way, he actually wrote a book, Charles, my dad's squad sergeant. I don't have it in
Oh,
front of me,
cool.
so I don't know the name of it, but it's really, really good. And it's an interesting look into race and the Vietnam era and stuff. So I don't know if people are interested in that, you can hit me up in chat later. But yeah, so yeah, I wanted to bring that back to that. So
Okay, now I'm really glad I asked that question. That was a really good question. See, I without knowing the context, it was like after what you and I had talked about before, I'm like, oh, okay, like we'll see where this goes.
yeah,
You might know who this next question's from because it's pretty descriptive. We'll see. So question 9 is this. It says, one of the best qualities I know about Killingbird is as a father. I'm not only great friends with Killingbird, but also with his son, Andrew. Andrew is a recent college grad from UNC Charlotte and is truly a great young man. Derek and Leanne must have done a great job raising him. I'd like to hear some deep dive questions into parenting as young adults, philosophy on his parenting style, because I hope to have the same relationships with my kids that Derek has with his.
wow. That's a heartwarming question. First of all, it means a lot to me. I have a feeling who that might be from, and it actually makes me appreciate the question more knowing who it's coming from because it's if you asked my group of friends, we would probably all answer that he is the best father we know. If I'm wrong about who it is, I'll just let them pretend that they're the best father that we know. But I think I know who we're talking about. Yeah, so I think so. It's interesting. I had a one sibling, and we were not very close growing up. And my wife had two siblings, and they were not very close growing up. They were very separated in age. So we did a lot of figuring shit out on the fly. We also lived in Los Angeles at this time. All our family was in Michigan. So we didn't have anybody to like turn to and say like, what do I do? He's sick or he's yelling at me or he's whatever. So we figured a lot of things out on accident. So the other thing I'll say is that I have to give most of the credit to my amazing wife because she's the second best mom I know. Sorry, honey. My mom was the best, obviously.
Understandable.
But she's absolutely incredible. I think she did an incredible job of filling in, as I mentioned earlier, when I was gone. But I think as he got older is where I probably became more important. And I think that maybe is sort of a biological thing. When they're young, I mean, they're literally in their mom's lap, right? Eating,
Right.
doing all that stuff. But as he got older and he became a man, I think I probably became more influential in that way. And I think the biggest thing that I would say is to give them a lot of space, give them opportunities to fuck up. I always used to tell when he got to be, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, 12, I forget the age. I would say to him, you can pretty much do anything you want. And I think he knew that didn't mean snort coke or, you know, whatever. I think he knew what I meant. You can pretty much do anything you want, but as soon as you mess up, I'm pulling you back in, you know? So you have to be respectful of other adults. You have to be respectful of your friends, um, and so on. And I think that translated for him. I think also he was an only child, which I think a lot of people think is sometimes a bad thing. But I think in the case of us, it was a good thing because he was forced to go out and make friends, be social, do things, you know, because he couldn't just stay home and play with his brothers and sisters. Not that that's a bad thing either, but he was forced to go out and do those things. I always remember, um, here's two fun stories. Sorry, Andrew. I know Andrew's not watching either, but I'll tell two fun Andrew stories. Andrew's my son, by the way. Here's two fun stories. One, not that fun, but one is that he came into my office one night. So I always instilled in him the whole like don't drink, don't drive, don't abuse alcohol, things like that, which is I know weird coming from me. But I remember one night he came into my office. He was young. I think he had just gotten his driver's license, I think, so 16. He came into my office and he said, "Hey, so and so is at a party and he's drunk." And it's like I'm streaming on Twitch at this time, and he's like, and he asked me if I could come pick him up. And he has school the next day or something. And it's like, yeah, it's like 1 a.m. And I'm like, first of all, yes, you can go pick him up. And second of all, thank you for being conscientious enough to come ask me and know that you're supported to go do that thing and stuff. So I loved that we had instilled that part in him where he knew he could go and like make sure his friend got home safe and that he felt comfortable talking to us and all that kind of stuff. Fast forward 2 years, he had bought himself a Mustang. And I always told him, if you get a speeding ticket, I'm taking your keys away. I said, you can buy a Mustang with your own money, but if you get a speeding ticket, keys are mine. So I'm streaming. This shows you how much I stream. I'm streaming again, midnight, 1 o'clock, whatever. He knocks on my office door. He comes in. He goes, "Hey, Dad, you remember when you said if I could buy a Mustang, but if I ever got a speeding ticket, I'd have to give you my keys?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Here's my keys."
That's awesome.
And he just hands them over. And I'm like, "You son of a bitch." But that's the kind of kid he's always been. And I think it's because we gave him a lot of room to run. You know, like I see, you know, we're all on Nextdoor and we're on our community Facebook page and we keep in touch with our fellow parents and stuff. And I just see people like trying to limit their kids, trying to like pull them in. And it goes as deep as like screen time, right? Like people like I'm trying to keep my kids off of screen time. They're watching too many YouTube videos. They're doing too much of this. I'm like, you know what? Just let them go. And and the problem is that people don't realize that letting them go into screen time is exactly the same as when you and I were growing up, when our parents let us go into the woods to build forts and throw tree branches at each other and shoot pellet guns at each other without safety glass. Like it's the same thing. It's just a different era. And people are freaking out because they're like, well, I want my kid to go outside and play. Like, who's he going to go outside and play with? There's no kids out there. Nobody's in the woods playing fort like we used to.
Not cool anymore, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember my son coming to me. He used to run a Minecraft server. And he's like, oh, yeah, me and my my buddy, and this is going to sound stereotypical, but Johan or whatever. He was a Swedish kid. He's like, me and my buddy from Sweden are starting a Minecraft server, and we've agreed that when I turn 18, I'm going to fly to Sweden and meet him, and we're going to hang out. And I'm like, this is fucking amazing. This is way bigger than the tree fort days. Like, this is the greatest thing ever.
I love it.
So yeah. I just let these guys, you know, I never said, well, I won't say ever said once, get off your iPhone or get off your iPad, but I was like, go explore, go do your thing, you know, and of course you're responsible. You get tracking software to make sure they're not going to certain sites and you monitor their text when they're like 12 and stuff. But at some point you just got to let them loose because the technological age is here, boys and girls. If you're going to try to keep your kids off of screen time, good luck.
Right.
Long answer, but there you go.
No, great. Those are great answers and great stories. So, chat, I'm getting ready to ask question 10. If you guys have any short questions you want to ask Killingbird, tag me in chat over the next, 45 minutes as he answers this last question. I'm joking. I don't think it'll take him that long. But tag me in chat if you have any good questions for KB, and we'll hit him with a couple quick ones from a couple of the best ones from chat to wrap it up. But here's the last question, and I probably am gonna. Oh yes, cheers. I gotta pour more milk. Let me get some more kids drink while I sit here at the kids table at Thanksgiving. Thanks, Dad.
I'm not letting you off easy.
Yeah, Rancor. This is why I like doing these interviews, because even though like we're streamers, there's something about not having the poker tables and not having the focus that allows us to dig into some stuff that like we just like wouldn't even naturally come up in a stream, you know? And so it's really cool to like get to know you in ways that we normally wouldn't. So here we go. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, my friend. All right.
Oh, that one tasted even better than the last.
I was about to say that tasted worse than the last. The caramel gets a little worse each time. All right, so here's the last question. This is kind of a deep one. And I want to preface it by saying this. I think you've already... So here's the question. Let me say it, then I'll preface it, then I'll work my way to it.
First, we do have a couple of questions. Do you want to do their questions after or before?
No, yeah, we'll do it after. We'll do it after yours, because I'm going to screen them. Most of them I'm going to screen them first. So the question is this. What do you want your legacy to be? And I want to preface it and say, like, you've already done a lot of things that would lead to a legacy, but how old are you now? You're 40...
47.
47. So, like, we're kind of getting at an age where I think we're still young in a sense. Like, we still have many years in the tank, hopefully, Lord willing, and, like, we can still accomplish a lot. It's not like we're old or anything. But at the same time, we're kind of getting to that, like, maybe, like, that third lap of the 400-meter race, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, you know, we're kind of starting to think about the end game a little bit and kind of how we want things to go. So, like, as you think about that, like, when you're thinking about the last, let's just say you had 40 years locked up. You're going to make it to 87, right? Like, what do you want to accomplish in the next 40 years, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave at the end of that 40 years that kind of, like, spans your whole life?
Yeah, it's also a really good question. I mean, I think one of the things, and this is an obvious one, but I mean, I hope that in hindsight, you know, my son looks back and was like, oh, he was a really good dad. You know, like he did really cool things. We had a lot of fun. We went on trips. We experienced a lot of cool stuff. I think that will be the true measure of how I've done in my life. But I think also on a little bit of a secondary level, and I don't think my wife would be mad about this. Like, I hope she'll look back and go, okay, yeah, you know, I went to bed without him many, many nights. He woke up after me many, many mornings. But he was trying to do the best he could for the family and for what he was trying to accomplish and things like that. I hope that, you know, God forbid this is anytime soon, but when my mom and dad pass away, that they look back and go, wow, you know, we did okay raising him. He, you know, he didn't completely fuck shit up. We know that him and his family are good. And I think, you know, from a poker standpoint, like, I just want people to look back and go, you know, he did some good things. He had a good time. He contributed something to the I don't think anybody's going to look back and go, wow, Killingbird changed the poker industry or whatever. But I'd like to think that they will at least look back and go, he followed his passions. He followed his dreams. He had fun doing everything he was doing. And I think that's a pretty awesome, like, thing to accomplish. Because, and this could go on a whole tangent too, but I'll make it really short. I have friends who wake up on Monday morning and go, fuck, it's Monday. I got to go to work today. This sucks. And then on Friday night they go, it's the weekend, bitches. Let's have a good time. And I'm like, dude, you just wasted 5 days of your life. Right. And I know Geek and I have a conversation to have about this in the future, but it's really important to me that I maximize the time I have here. And I know that sounds selfish, but I'm trying to make an impact too, right? Like, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you have to put your kids first, your family first, your wife first. I'm like, not always. Like, sometimes it's okay to tell your kid to go away. Dad's having a good time right now, or dad's trying to change something about the world right now, or I'm doing good thing. Like, people are so much like kids first. fucking love my kid. I'd die for him. I'd take a bullet. Only person in the world I'd take a bullet for. Not even my wife. Sorry, Leanne. That's not true. I would take a bullet for her. But it's like, it's so important to me to maximize every second that I have, because I don't have a lot, right? It's counting down fast. The last 20 years has gone by incredibly quick. So I'm just trying to like have some kind of impact. And you know what? If somebody 10 years from now goes, I was watching this weird stream on Twitch about poker, but the guy talked about starting a business, and then he did, and he became incredibly successful. That's the kind of shit that'll make me super happy. Or actually, here's an even more better answer. I've tried for 10 years to instill in my son, you can be happy every day at work. You just have to decide what it is that you love to do, and you have to do that. My son now is in the working force. He's 22 years old. He has a career, and he loves it. In fact, I think he's upstairs working right now because he just enjoys the shit out of it. And if that's my legacy, that I convinced my son to enjoy 40 hours a week of his life instead of hate it, then I'll have done exactly what I needed to do.
Very, very cool. Do you know what the end game is? Do you have an idea of what you want the end game to be for your life?
No.
Is it fishing in the Bahamas, like you referenced earlier?
It probably involves some beach time for sure. I think honest answer, I would like to spend a lot more time with my wife in the end. You know,
sure,
because we have very. I've talked about this on the stream too. Our wedding vows were literally based on individuality. That was the whole like we hired my political science professor to marry us. Well, we didn't hire him. We bought weed from him, and then he agreed to do our he agreed to do our wedding. But the vows were all based
amazing.
Our vows were based on not like, you know, most vows are like, you're coming together as one, and now you are a family, and now you must support each other. Well, the support each other part's right, but it was very much like it's about supporting each other's individuality. If your wife loves doing this, you support that. If your husband loves doing this, you support that. So we've spent a lot of time apart, right? Like I've done the music industry, I've done poker, I'm out of town 3-4 months out of the year.
Right.
So I would love, you know, knock on wood, if there's a higher power up there, please give me a good 10 years at the end of my life when I'm 70, where all I have to do is sit on the beach with my wife and hold her hand and have a cocktail and, you know, talk about our kid and our grandkids and stuff like that. That's all I'm asking. I don't want to get stolen. I don't want that stolen from me, because I've definitely sacrificed that early in my life. So I'd like to at least get that back at the end, if that makes any sense.
Is there any chance that beautiful like beachside dream could potentially happen in like Pensacola, Florida?
I mean, possibly. Is Pensacola close to Key West?
Not really.
Damn it. Then no.
Okay.
We have talked a little bit about Key West as a spot, so you never know.
My wife is fixated on Florida, so I mean, Key West to Pensacola is not any farther than North Carolina is to Illinois, so it's not. We're not downgrading on that front.
Hey, as long as you get out of the Midwest, you're good. Fuck Minnesota.
No, like seriously, I am like, I mean, I'm not. I'll be straight up honest with you. Like, part of the motivation that's had me like push through so hard through January is like the opportunity to come out in Cherokee and hang out in April. Like, that's literally been a part of like what's been driving me and pushing me so hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, on a micro level, you've been doing the same thing, right? Like you put aside some long-term goals to accomplish some short-term goals so that you can both do the big goals together, right? Like, that's what
yeah.
You know, I just see people putting their entire life on hold to accomplish goals they shouldn't be trying to accomplish.
Right.
You know? Unless
I want to. You're just like dropping buckets of wisdom. All right, let me run through some questions in chat, and then we'll get you sent off to your stream here.
I'm ready.
Joe asked, "Why is the Dolphins?" We actually answered that one earlier, Joe. So if you want to check the VOD, you can get that one. Not a Bad Dream says,
Grandpa Aiken. Cheers to you.
Amen. What? Not a Bad Dream says, "What's your number one goal for this year?"
I hope that the Dolphins draft Tua.
That's your goal for this year?
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Geek wants to know if you have anything you wish you could change about your life.
Yeah, I wish I had put my son to bed more when he was like 3.
Easy enough. Everybody jealous of the fact that you're not completely gray yet.
I'm getting there.
I have like 2 gray hairs in my sideburn, and my wife just makes fun of them. What are your thoughts on alcoholism? A weird question.
Yeah, I don't think it's that weird, honestly. I honestly thought this question would come up. It's interesting.
I should have prefaced. My bad. Like,
no,
like, go ahead. You go first because I have some thoughts too. But I'm gonna let you go first.
I think that people's thoughts on alcoholism is probably like inflated. So if you look at the definition of alcoholism, because I look it up all the time because I get nervous. I'm like, oh shit. Like people are like, you're a drunk alcoholic. And I'm like, am I? And I look up the definition. It's really hard to meet all the criteria of being an alcoholic. So here's the thing. I'll just relate this to me. What people see on stream is very different than what's happening in real life, right? So people watch me on stream and they're like, wow, this guy literally puts back beers and shots like every time he streams. But you know what happens the other 4 nights of the week? I sit on the couch and eat a pizza and watch fucking like Netflix, you know?
Right.
But that being said, I've lost a lot of good friends to alcoholism and to drug addiction. It's an incredibly serious problem, and it's not something to joke about, although I probably joke about it more than I should. So yeah, just watch the warning signs, you know, like, and part of it comes from the fact that my wife's incredibly supportive and accommodating, and so I don't like. So some of the criteria of alcoholism is like you hide it from your family, you lie about what you're doing so you can go out and drink. I don't do any of that. It's all public, right? Like it's all here for everyone to see. But I do think there's things you have to watch for. I've been in bands with alcoholics. I've been in bands with drug addicts. My bass player in Killingbird killed himself because he was addicted to heroin. I've been through all that, so I'm aware of it. And I will tell you that I do personal checks, right? Like I do things where all right, I'm not going to drink for like 2 weeks. Because if somebody says you're an alcoholic and then you cannot drink for 2 weeks and not even care, then you're probably okay. That being said, I'm very aware of it. I'm hyper aware of it. I work in a business where I know many alcoholics. You have to watch for it. I just sit home and drink beer. I don't know. I'm good. But if it ever becomes a problem, my wife will punch me in the throat and tell me to stop.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. Yeah, it's one of those things that people come to me all the time and they want you to draw a line in the sand and say, okay, right is on this side of the line and wrong is on this side of the line, you know? And it's like everybody gets so obsessed with where the line is. And it's like you can't draw a line, you know?
Yeah.
Like there are some people that could watch that Super Bowl show on Sunday and they're like, whatever, like that didn't even faze me. There's other people who watch that Super Bowl show and they're running off to their rooms, you know, and like they can't, they're freaking out, you know, like it's just different things for different people, and everybody has different weaknesses, different temptations, different struggles, different levels of willpower, you know.
I was only mad
because
they lip synced. I was just mad because they lip synced. I didn't care about the pole dancing was fine.
This is something you and I do have in common because I don't think most people realize how obvious that is, right? Like if you've been in the music industry, and I wasn't ever as big as you were. I mean, I recorded an album. We sold like 200 copies of our album. We did little like concerts in little churches here and there and little schools. Like, we'd get 100 people a show. We were never anything big time, but having been enough around it and learning some of the techniques and doing some stuff in the recording industry and whatnot, like, it's really easy to tell, right? Like you and I, we can see and watch a performance, and we know immediately whether they're singing it for real or not. And like most people, they just right over their head, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that totally makes sense. All right, so last part of this whole thing, It's only fair. This is the last thing we do in this new set of interviews. I just belted you with 10 questions. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask me one question. Nothing is off the table.
Shit.
You can ask me any one question you want.
Dang,
I should have given you some heads up so you could have had a little time.
I know. I wish I was more prepared for this.
We'll run this last bomb pot, and I'll give you like 5 minutes to think about it.
Oh, that's perfect. Hey, can I match the bomb pot?
Yeah, if you want. You want to match it?
Yeah, I'll match it, including the bonus. If the bonus hits, I'll match the bonus as well.
All right. So here we go. We're doubling the bomb pot, guys. Here we go. Oh, God, fishing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bomb Pots. In a moment, we're going to choose 8 lucky contestants. Each will get dealt 2 whole cards. We'll deal all 5 cards of the board one at a time, and whichever one of you has the best hand at the end will be the winner. So good luck to everybody, and don't worry, if you didn't get selected, there's always next time. All right, let's choose our contestants. All right, everyone, let's shuffle up and deal. Okay, let's take a look at the first card. And now let's turn over the second card. Let's complete the flop. It's time for the turn card. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, it all comes down to this. Win or lose, the river card will determine all. Flip over the river card. Okay, that is it for our bomb pot. Thank you so much for participating. Congratulations to the winner. If you didn't win this time, remember there will be more chances, so stick around the stream. You never know when another bomb pot is going to drop. But that's it for me. We're signing out. We'll be back from the break in just a bit and back to the poker action. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second half of my interview with Killingbird's chair. If you guys have any questions for KB's chair, feel free to throw them in chat. I got one question for KB's chair. What's it like to have him knock you over on the ground, and how do you pick yourself up after being forced to the ground in such a horrific manner? No? Anything? I guess KB's chair is not going to answer. Oh, there he is! There's the man!
Wow, did I take that long?
I was interviewing your chair.
Oh
And
man.
was not getting anywhere.
Oh,
So
my chair has some stories.
yeah. So you get one question, one shot.
God,
Do not miss your chance.
I wish I had more
should've-
time. I wish I had more
I
time.
wish I would have given you more time. My apologies.
It's okay. It's okay. I kind of like the snap question. Um. So do you want the? No, I'm just gonna give you a question.
All right.
Has there ever been a time where you were watching my stream and you questioned your friendship with me?
No, that is the easy. I'm gonna give you another question because no, that's too easy. No, I really haven't. I can remember watching your left testicle or right testicle. I'm not sure which was fall out.
It was
and
the left.
I can remember the snot coming out of my nose because I was laughing so hard that I was literally blowing snot bubbles. I had it like dripping down my face. I had to like smear it off my face as I was like wheezing uncontrollably. And I was like, I remember in the moment going, does he even know? Like I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, KB, like you could hear me, right? No, like not for a second. And I mean, I can't even think of a time where that would like be less than a 99.99% answer.
I'll do a quick follow-up before the next question. Was there ever a time where you were like, oh, I'm worried about this guy?
I mean, there's been a few times where you've like not returned to your stream, like where there's always that small worry of like, did he pass out or did he, like that. But that's a worry. That's just not a worry with you. That's happened with other streamers and other, we had an epic WD stealth night that ended in similar fashion. And that one was actually a little bit more scary because like his wife came. Like when his wife came on the stream, it was like, it was a little more, I guess, intimidating. But no. So you haven't asked a real question yet. So I'm still giving you a real question. Those are all easy. You got to make me sweat a little bit.
All right. I kind of liked. I think not the toughest, but the most insightful question for me was, which part of your life would you change? Based on what you know now, because I think we all have regrets, right? Like we all definitely would change something, a little something, I think. So yeah, what part of your life? Not a part. What little thing in your life would you change that you feel like you really fucked up?
Man, well, yeah, like so that's a two-part question because it was one-part question until you said to what you really fucked up, and then I'm like, oh God, like that's a long list.
Yeah, and hey, I'm thankful that we all have that list.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I think so it's interesting because depending on what time in your life you ask me that question, the answer would be very different. I think that as recently as 2 years ago, there's probably like 2 or 3 points in my life I can point to where I'm like, these were pivotal points in my life where I made decisions that really kind of were at a crossroads and set me down a path that I look back on and go, what would the other path have looked like,
Yeah.
I was really stupid in my 20s. I mean, not anything like on the drugs and alcohol front, but just, I was very, very proficient with the ladies, and I know nobody's going to believe that now, and I'm going to get all kinds of crap in chat, but just, I mean, a lot of dumb relationship decisions, right? Yeah. And hurt some people and just made some really horrible mistakes. And there was a time in my 30s where, like, I think I was never suicidal or anything on that level, but I was definitely at a point where I was kind of giving up on anything fruitful in life. It was just kind of like, I'm just going to live out my years and just kind of get to the finish line and just be done with it. And I just wasn't excited about things. And in the midst of that, not realizing how hurt I was, I definitely like kind of dug myself a hole,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so for the longest time, like I definitely look back on kind of some of those periods and it was just like, man, I really like wasted a lot of time, wasted a lot of energy, hurt some people, so on and so forth. But now, and maybe this is like kind of a weird time to ask me, like I look back on a lot of that and it's like I learned so much through all those mistakes, and it's like, would I trade the knowledge that I have for the opportunity to do it over again? And I don't know, because I'm kind of in a place right now where it's like, and of course, Things are going great. Just hit a tournament for 3K yesterday, and I've picked up some new client work that's been a huge blessing, and the stream's getting bigger, and so we're kind of in this, like, my wife just graduated. She starts her new job next week. Like, a lot of things are going right, so when things are going right, it's very easy to be like, like, life's good. But I really do think that a lot of, as I'm looking at this next year and I'm looking at my plans for the year and what I want to accomplish, there's so much of the plans that are laying out that I can look at and go, I know what I need to do in March, and I know what I need to do in April, and I need to know what I need to do in October because of this screw up in 2002, and this screw up in 1987, and this screw up in 1996, and like all those things have me lined up to where, like, there's a lot that makes sense and clicks, and so, it's hard. Like, I don't know. Like, I think if you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have said a lot, but like where I stand right now, I kind of feel like, maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't optimal, right? Maybe it wasn't the optimal route,
right?
But in a roundabout way, like, it still circled back to the ideal path, and now I'm in a place where I can take those bad things and I can't change them, but I can turn them into good. Does that fit at all with your life and your mistakes at all? Is there a similar feeling or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you always have to like live your life based on right now. So you literally can't go back and change anything, right? So it's like. Right. Okay, how can I change things? If I think something's really fucked up, how do I change it right now to make it better going forward? And, you could spend a lot of time looking back. I mean, geez, if we want to do an interview, I could do 15 hours of interviews about where I fucked up.
Me too.
But the only thing I can actually do anything about is how I act from this day forward. And it's going to be fucked up. Like, I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make some mistakes. I'm going to do some shit that I regret. But at least I know that what happened yesterday, a week ago, 2 years ago, it's over. It's over. I just got to move on. Also, Tua for the win. Please.
One Dog Geek says, Killingbird, there was a time when me, Melissa, and Queen Bee 902, which name I don't recognize, were very, very worried.
Yeah, I think that was the night that I woke up to a lot of texts. And it was like, are you okay? Are you alive? What's happening? Yeah, we've had a few nights that got a little aggro. But, at the end of the day, I don't know. Damn, I did it again. I said it at the end of the day. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think if I have any regrets on Twitch. Like, no, I don't think I do. Like, I've enjoyed every minute of what I've done on Twitch. I guess I regret getting banned for 24 hours one time. But even the left nut coming out, we didn't get banned for that. We just got a gentle warning, so that was cool.
And so amazing, right?
And we raised $3,000 for Triangle Beagle Rescue. By the way, exclamation mark. Oh no, there's no exclamation mark. Trybeagles.org. Trybeagles.org is the website for where we raise money for the Beagles. I should say this. All right, I know we have to wrap this up. We all have things to do, but I do want to say, one of the most amazing things about Twitch is that I've been able to raise over $13,000, I believe, for Triangle Beagle Rescue. Triangle Beagle Rescue is a breed-specific rescue that my wife and I work with, where we raise money to rescue dogs, beagles, obviously. It's a very homegrown charity. There's not a single paid person in the company, so every dollar that gets donated goes directly to Triangle Beagle Rescue. And the Twitch community has been amazing. I think back to all the people who've donated ridiculous amounts of money, and I'm so thankful for it. Like, I could send you guys pictures of the dogs who've been saved, and I have one of them in my house right now, Spot, who's an emote of mine. You guys have saved those dogs, so we've made somebody's life better, even if it is just a little canine. But I have to give so much. If Twitch ended today, I could look back and go, dude, we saved like 100 dogs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just gotta give shout outs to everybody who's donated. TSB donated a shit ton last time. Geeks obviously been incredibly supportive. You've been supportive. Um, yeah, everybody. Man, it's
It's
been
funny
amazing.
because like I've had dogs through most of my life, but like there's something like different this time around where like I can work till 4 a.m. and I can have a really long day, and my day can end in like a 10th place finish in some tournament that would have had like life changing money, and I can just be like completely frustrated, and then I remember I get to go cuddle with my dogs,
Yeah.
which that's no offense to my wife like at all, but like she's not really a 4 a.m. cuddler. She's kind of the woman that'll be like, meh, like if you try and touch her at 4 a.m. So like, but I know I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna open the door and I can't see anything because the room's pitch dark, but I'm gonna hear tail flopping on the bed the second I
Yeah.
open the door, and they're just gonna curl up right next to me, and it's just like it's such a sweet way to end the day, and like I think it's just so cool that you give back to a species and an animal and a opportunity in life that gives so much to us, like you talk about on your stream all the time, the love that just is unconditional, like they're always there, they're always supportive, always happy, and it's just really cool what you're doing. So pat yourself on the back, man. Like
They're the absolute
it,
best. I mean, I could go on for days about this, but the times where you think you did something really good for them and then you realize that they actually like really did something good for you, like those are the good
right.
days, you know? It's like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
like I mean, I had my dog, one of my first rescue, under my desk all day today because it was thundering and tornadoing and stuff here today, and he was just under my desk and he was just looking at me, and this was like the one time he needed me to comfort him, but that dude's comforted me like 100 times, leading up to today.
Right.
So I just have nothing but love for the pups and all the people who've raised money and contributed, and I mean Melissa, I have to give a shout out to Melissa 2141 for heaps of money that she's donated. It's amazing. So yeah, and the rest I have to say too. By the way, the rescue like looks at what we do and goes, "Wow, what what did Derek do?" Because they don't know me as Killingbird. They just know me as Derek. Like, why did we just get a donation for $3,000? Like, what just happened? Because that's like 3 months worth of fundraising for them.
Wow.
And so they're paying attention to what's happening in these Twitch streets and stuff. And yeah, the dogs are the
How sick
best.
would it be? How sick would it be? Let's put it at 2 years out, because I think, and this may be optimistic to some people, but I personally don't think this would be optimistic at all. How sick would it be within 2 years, Twitch poker grows to the point where you can run a fundraiser for that and do an entire year of fundraising, and their entire fundraising budget comes from the Killingbird annual
Yeah,
Tribe Eagle Rescue thing.
it
I
could
don't think it's
happen.
out of the I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, and I think that's so good on so many fronts. So like I'm putting that bug in your ear. Like let's see if we can make that happen. It,
Yeah.
it sounds crazy, but let's see what we can do. We'll rally around you and find a way, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and along those lines, if you're watching, support your U.S. poker streamers. Like I know it sounds like a stupid little thing that doesn't really matter, but there's a bunch of people out there grinding in the streets right now. I'm looking at fellow streamers that got 5, 9, 11, 23, 26 viewers. Just take a little time, stop in their stream, just say hello, let them know you're watching, that you appreciate it. Don't be a lurker. I mean, it doesn't take much to make a streamer really, really feel good. And for the amount of work they put in, if you could just like brighten their day for like 10 minutes because you dropped 5 bits, which is a nickel, or maybe you subscribe, maybe you follow, it doesn't matter. Just do whatever you can do to support other streamers because there's like a bunch of people out here just like literally sweating their lives out to try to
Yeah.
put good content together for you. And yeah, some are doing better jobs than others. I mean, Rob's killing it right now. There's a bunch of really good US streamers who are doing really fun things, Bot Lady, Deja Vu. There's a bunch of people who do like a way better job than I do. But if you can just like throw them like a bone and just a bone, just 5 bits, a follow, a sub or whatever, gift a sub maybe, whatever it is. I mean, I don't know. It's way cheaper than Netflix. So just say hello to those people and let them know you appreciate what they're doing.
I love it. Yeah. And I'll just piggyback on that by saying this: exclamation giveaway is 9 characters. Exclamation PW is 3 characters, but it only takes 2 characters to say hi. The laziest thing you can do in chat is just say hi, but it can make all the difference in the world. So before you start getting all that exclamation giveaway chat hype when you walk into the stream, blow those 2 characters out. It doesn't take long at all to do. So you're going to fire the stream up?
Yeah, we're firing the stream up.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. You get that fired up. I'm going to keep these guys entertained for about 5 or 10 minutes till you're all sexy. I got you up on my left monitor here. And once you're up and live, man, we'll send you the raid, and we'll go have the after party in your stream.
Dude, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me again. And thanks for doing this. I look forward to the next 9 or 20 or 200 interviews.
I hope it's 202, and I'll let you know. I'm gonna get all that. I'm gonna get that intro video uploaded, and that'll be entertaining. You can show it to the wife and kids.
I definitely will.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Cheers, bro. Take care.
All right. How cool was that, guys? Let me get the music dialed back down here. How cool is that? I mean, we haven't done this in it's gonna be close to 2 years now. It's so much fun. The time flies. You get to see a side of your favorite streaming heroes that you don't get to see, and I just love it. We're gonna keep doing these. I'm gonna do them once a month for now. It would be cool to maybe try and do 2 a month. Like I thought about that, but I really want to make sure we keep the quality good. We keep the quality of the guests good. The questions are good, and it just doesn't get stale. So I already have a beat on who I think my March guest is going to be. I'm not going to release that yet. You'll just have to stay on top of Twitter and stay tuned for that. But I'm really, really excited about the March guest. But if you guys can stick out here, what I want to do, we'll throw another bomb pot on. Just to keep you guys entertained here for a little bit. Please stick around. We're going to throw a raid over to KB. And I don't think he's watching at this point. I'm going to drop a chunk of subs. If we can get a sub train going, I don't want anybody to extend themselves beyond their means or anything, but if you guys enjoyed him opening up, his honesty, the way that he was willing to, kind of like answer some of these deeper questions, take time out of his day, take time out of his stream, like his content, like he just came and gave us amazing content for 2 hours. Like if we can just throw like a sub train in there, get the hype train rolling, I would really, really appreciate that. But again, please, guys, if you're tight on money, don't feel obligated in any way, shape, or form. I don't want anybody to feel pressured. Just if it's something you can do and afford to do, let's just go shower him with some gifts. If you can't, shower him with some emotes. Just tell him how awesome the interview was, how much you appreciated him, and that will mean the world to me. But we'll run a bomb pot, and then I think he'll be up by then, and we'll go from there. Guys, tomorrow I have an appointment at 7:45 in the morning. I think I will be done in time to start streaming at 10. However, there's a chance it may go over. If it does go over, I will start the stream as soon as I get home. I will try to update you guys on Twitter and kind of give you guys an official start time. But we'll kind of play that by ear tomorrow depending on how that goes. And then if we have any deep runs on Sunday, we will fire up on Sunday with any deep runs like we did last night. Last night was just absolutely ridiculous. I was blown away. Like I expected us to fire up and maybe get like 15 to 20 people. We had 40 within like 10 minutes of launching the stream. We hit 200 at one point last night. I was speechless, guys. I thank you so much. And turning my head, the room's moving a little bit slower than my head is. It feels a little weird. I guess this milk is getting to me. But no, like we'll fire up again on Sunday. If we have any deep runs, we will absolutely fire up. And then my plan for next week again is to stream mornings. Because of the Moss, like we're gonna stream mornings, kind of kick off the week, talking about the events for the day, so you guys know what the schedule is. We'll do some bomb pots for free tickets to the events for that day, so you have a chance to win a free ticket to something from that day. And then we will, and then we'll kick the Moss off. I'll head out. I'm gonna grind the tables, and again, any deep runs during the week we'll fire up for. So hopefully we at least have 1 or 2 night streams just when we're running deep in things, and we get an exciting opportunity to go deep. But we're gonna make sure that everybody gets their morning started off right. Questions, comments, insults. I'll take them all. Let's go. I'm ready. I feel like I could take on the world. Doesn't seem to be too much. How cool is KB, man? That was every bit as exciting and as enjoyable as I expected it to be. 100%. Not just a boss. He's like the end boss. Like, you got to go through him. It was fun. I wish you guys could have seen. I didn't have a way to record it. I wish you guys could. So I had Skype up on my main monitor. And so I had his camera while he was watching that whole video. And it was so fun to watch the reactions of him watching the video on stream. And, like, there literally was a point he was, like, taking a chug of beer and he, like, spit it out into the cup almost because, like, he got caught off guard by one of the clips. And it was really, really cool. Really, really cool. But I am going to post, while I'm kind of like hanging out in KB's stream tonight and keeping an ear on what Phil's doing. By the way, exclamation Phil in chat. ACR and Phil, actually I think it's ACR's stream. They posted a ton of content from the streams. If you guys have not caught the live streams Phil's doing, all of their stuff got launched. I think if you guys search for America's Card Room and go to the America's Card Room channel, they actually put it on the ACR channel and not Phil's channel. But they released like 20 videos today or something crazy. They went nuts. Yeah, like it's the America's Card Room channel. If you're not subscribed, it's youtube.com/The America's Card Room. These are all like condensed videos of his streams over the last week with like a lot of the fluff. And thank you for the follows. And I just spilled my drink all over my desk. See, this is getting to me. Melt my butt. Like they've got a whole bunch of videos posted there. I highly recommend you guys check out the life videos about like his life, the Life of Phil Nagy videos. These two right here are a really, really good watch. A really, really good watch. Highly recommend you guys watch those. Rob's drunk on milk. You made me want to be a better person, not just an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're not an idiot. You might have some things you want to do differently, and that's totally understandable, but that doesn't make you an idiot. These live videos are really, 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 really good. Like they give you the story of Phil Nagy, like from 17 up to how he became a CEO at America's Card Room, and I think you'd be surprised by some of the stuff that's going on there. Also, I think this War Against Bots video is really good. The failure and success one's not too bad. So I would definitely watch a couple of these as you guys have spare time. Third in the jackpot free. Let's go, Lamont. All right, guys, we're going to run this bomb pot, and then hopefully KB will be up and going, and we're going to go send him an epic raid and get him rocking and rolling.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bomb Pots. In a moment, we're going to choose 8 lucky contestants. Each will get dealt 2 whole cards. We'll deal all 5 cards to the board one at a time, and whichever one of you has the best hand at the end will be the winner. So good luck to everybody, and don't worry, if you didn't get selected, there's always next time. All right, let's choose our contestants. right, everyone, let's shuffle up and deal. Okay, let's take a look at the first card. And now let's turn over the second card. Let's complete the flop. It's time for the turn card. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. It all comes down to this. Win or lose, the river card will determine all. Flip over the river card. Okay, that is it for our bomb pot. Thank you so much for participating. Congratulations to the winner. If you didn't win this time, remember there will be more chances, so stick around the stream. You never know when another bomb pot is going to drop. But that's it for me. We're signing out. We'll be back from the break in just a bit and back to the poker action.